Hello. And today, you can tell I'm trying out a new look. I've always wanted to try out that kind of rockabilly look because it goes with tattoos, which I have, but it seems like it would be much more flattering to my body shape and things like that. So, thought why not? I will try it, which is the theme of today is just being who you are and not letting fear kind of get in the way of what you want to do. And I've always wanted to try the rockabilly look, and so I'm trying it. So feel free, let me know what you think. Because do I feel awkward? Not really, maybe a little bit. I need to figure out how to do the cat eye liner a little better. But to business. I have not watched the whole Breakfast Poetry Live this morning because I got interrupted with something else. But if you look down in the description, you will see Hypness and Outrage on Instagram. That's Amy Zollers, my partner in poetry for many, many things. And she does breakfast poetry every morning, and it's awesome. And I started listening to it this morning. Like I said, I got interrupted probably by trying to figure out how to do cat eye makeup. I'm sorry, Amy, but I'm going back to finish that because it's really good. And I have something I'm going to be announcing tomorrow. Two things that just kind of came up so fast today that I can't really, I haven't been able to prepare for them. But one is, do you remember these little poetry books that I did? Ooh, I might regret saying this. And then I've got the John Reinhardt one, and that's how I discovered them. And they are the little books that you can open them up on one sheet of paper, and then you can, by the way you orientate your pages, you can do this little book. And so if you don't have, say, a printer, you could just hand draw this and hand write your poems in or whatever you want on a sheet of paper. And then you could go just get a copy of these made at like your local library or something for pretty cheap. And then you can pass these around. Tomorrow, all right, the first thing is I might keep doing this because it's been really fun. So I might keep doing this. I don't know. Don't hold me to that yet. But I thought it would be super fun if people made these and sent them to me because I'm addicted to these little books. And if you send them to me, then I will read them on this. And if I don't continue doing this every day, I'm going to continue doing it like maybe once a week. I haven't really decided yet because this was a this morning thought. But yeah, so I will provide my address to send these to you, my post office box, to send these to me tomorrow. And I'll kind of make a bigger decision if I'm going to do this, like if I'm still going to do this. But I really love doing this. And this has been super fun. I will say, like, around the beginning and the middle of April, I wasn't loving it so much, but now I've really gotten into it. So that's that. The second thing is, if you have been on my blog or in my social media, you'll have probably noticed me raging a little bit. I try to keep the rage down, but we've had some censorship problems all over the place in the US. And we are having censorship problems in our local library, the library I used to work at. So pretty offended by that, but also scared because once you start, um, maybe it's not your genre or your books that are getting taken out of the library, but that just opens the door for so many bad things. So it's a personal thing for me. So I have been frustrated. The Brooklyn Library, this will all be shared tomorrow in better detail because, like I said, this was a brainstorm this morning. But the Brooklyn Library has opened it up so that any teenager can get a virtual library card from them and download their ebooks and listen to the audiobooks. And it's to fight banned books or book banning. And I thought that was very cool. So I shared it with a couple of friends this morning that I thought would be interested. Then my friend Laura Darkwater, which I have her books and I've talked about them before, she said, genius idea. She said, why don't you open a library in your house, like a bed and breakfast? Because that's what we're going to change our house to, is a bed and breakfast at some point. So she said, why don't you do that? And I was like, I don't think that's a great idea, but I was going to do a little free library right before COVID. In fact, that's what that is. This box, the newspaper box that I always have behind me, that was originally gifted to me by the local paper, the Examiner, so that I could make a little free library. And then COVID hit and everything was scary, and I didn't know if I should encourage hanging out in front of my house with that. So, little free library is going to happen, and I'm going to fill it with the banned books. And I am a block away from a library, so that's appropriate. The same not the library that I'm having troubles with, but it's the system. Nobody's having trouble with the libraries and the librarians, but the trustees that are coming in some of these libraries are banning books. And then there's been book burnings, and yeah, so I will rave about that more tomorrow. Rave, rant, more like ranting. I will rant about that more tomorrow in a more organized way and tell you my exact plans, because today it's a lot in the brainstorming stage, and I have to set a couple things up, but that will be tomorrow. So yes, two things will happen tomorrow. One, I will give you the address and the instructions and the downloads to make your own little books of poetry or whatever, and then the address where you can send them to me, and then I will read them on this, what we're doing here, in some fashion, whether it's daily still or weekly or whatever. So that's going to happen. And then two, I'm going to be talking about my little free library, which was inspired by Laura. In fact, she's going to gift me a collection of all of her books. And those, since this was really her idea, will be the first books to go in that little free library. But tomorrow. Today is all about poet. Well, I mean, the whole thing is about poetry. This whole thing is poetry. So I have to read a poem. So the poem I picked today to read is actually going to be one of my own this time. It's from Infectious Hope, Poems of Hope and Resilience from the Pandemic. And this was put together by Sylvia Canton Rondoni. And I actually didn't know it, but I have a lot of friends in this. She just sent me an email from, I think she's Australian or maybe New Zealand, but she sent me this email like way back in 2020 and asked if I could contribute a poem for this project that she had. And I was like, heck yeah, because I'm always up for contributing a poem. So this was the book. So the poem that I wrote, oh, look, here's one of those little books as a bookmark. But the poem that I wrote is called A New Match. And it seemed appropriate this morning for, the little free library discussion that I had this morning. And mostly because that discussion started because I was frustrated and I didn't know what to do. Because it was suggested, well, you guys could do, you could protest that. You could, sign petitions. I was like, we already have. And it doesn't work. And then that's when Laura suggested just opening my own little library. I was like, yeah, that's right. I was so focused on what was being taken away, I forgot what I had. And that's what we all need to do, is realize what we have. And it may not be huge and it may not be earth-shattering, but we have something and we can use it, even if it is just a match. So, and no, I'm not pro arson. No, I am not. But a new match. I stand at the edge of the abyss, dark, cold, lost, with a single flame to illuminate the midnight chaos ahead. Quivering candle to drive away dark, it will never be enough to defeat the night. I toss my pale light into the pit where it falls, a wavering star, the ghost of a sun plummeting past sad faces I only now see. Momentary shine proves I am not all alone on this precipice. In absolute dark, a small spark makes a difference. I strike a new match. And that is my poem today, to inspire all of us to learn the lesson I did this morning of don't focus on all the things that we're losing or all the things that make us powerless, but focus on the power that we do have, the power to make a positive change. And I guarantee you have something that you can do right now to do something good, just even if it's just a little bit, even if it seems as temporary and insignificant as throwing a match into a pit, you will still illuminate somebody. And that is probably it for today. Um, go check out Hypnotist Outrage tomorrow morning for breakfast poetry. And this is second breakfast poetry because I'm always later because I'm not an early bird. And I think that's it. And I will see you tomorrow and we'll talk more about Little Free Libraries. And I may continue this. I don't know. I will test it out though. So, whatever you feel like you've been wanting to do um, today, just go do it. See what happens. And that's it from me today. Have a good poetry day. This is day number 27 of the Poetry Challenge. Heck, we're almost done. And it's actually been fun. I mean, I say that in like, no, I shouldn't say actually been fun, but yeah, I figured it was going to be a thing of endurance, and it has been, but it's been fun endurance. And on that note, I will see you tomorrow.